I want to know if you let yourself actually fail and how you would define failure. Hello, I'm Dan Clark, and welcome to 2 Minutes of Inspiration. It's great to have you with me today. Yes, failure is all different kinds of things to all different kinds of people. I'm working with a nurse practitioner today, and she was telling me that she just did not like failure. Okay, well, her relationship is not doing very well, and she doesn't like failure. So she's a failure. Well, she's not in charge of that because she doesn't get to decide what the other person in the relationship wants to do. So it's not your failure, right? But we own things often that is not ours. And even though we do fail at things, right, our willingness to let those things that are not ours be theirs, but also own the part that we played in that. Because if the relationship is deteriorating, often it's something that we didn't do well either. So owning the fact that I didn't do well is as important as anything that we're not doing well with. Embracing that things are not going well is learning to let go of what we want and own what is actually true and learn from the opportunity. Learning simply means that I have to change one of the things or some of the things that I was doing that created the difficulties that I experienced. And if I change those patterns, that failure won't happen again, most generally. These setbacks are always important because they always guide us to something that we need to change about who we are. So the intelligence of paying attention to failure is learning the opportunity to practice the skills that we didn't have, which is why we failed. I love you. I'm Dan Clark. I was sitting with my sister the other day and was telling her that I have an ongoing dialogue in my head. Hello, I'm Dan Clark, and welcome to 2 Minutes of Inspiration. It's good to have you with me today. That ongoing dialogue is actually talking about what's happening around me. For example, the other day, I broke a French press. It was glass on the floor, and I'm thinking to myself, "You're so silly, Dan. You broke that. You know, it's okay. You are clumsy, and it's all right. You don't have to worry about it all. You'll get it cleaned up, right?" So I'm telling myself these things as I'm picking it up, and then I was thinking about what my brother would say to me, like, "You're so stupid. You're always clumsy." And I'm thinking, that's kind of interesting that I had those thoughts about my brother. That's because obviously he has said things to me in a negative way in the past, and they just showed up in my brain. And then I thought, well, wait a minute, I don't need to be thinking about that. Then I went back to, it's okay, and I cleaned it up. It was quite messy, by the way, because I got coffee grounds and coffee everywhere in the kitchen. Well, this thinking that we have about ourselves, this dialogue that we have, is always wired with past experiences. So if you start paying attention to the dialogue that you have in your head, and then actually either stop the dialogue or redirect the dialogue to something more positive or more productive, you can actually help how you actually react to things. I'm very seldom reactive, and I very seldom get really angry because I'm aware of my dialogue when it shows up, and I just move it to something that's actually more productive for me. That means that I'm not beating myself up over it. I'm just aware of it. I'm thinking, oh, goodness gracious, I can't believe I'm thinking that. And then I move to something that's either non-negative or turn into something positive. Practicing loving yourself is noticing the dialogue in your head and turning it into a positive dialogue. I love you. I'm Dan Clark.